Good morning, beloveds. The sun is in full glory this morning, so I got my vitamin D. It's a little warm, but I mean, summer's coming, right? We're in the middle of May now, so. And yesterday, all of the storms, according to the weather, all the storms were supposed to stay south of I-10. No, they didn't. Around 1 o'clock, it started to grumble. Around 1:30, the sky opened up, and yeah. But fortunately, the rain had stopped and the water had gone down by the time it was time for us to leave. But yeah, we had about 2.5 hours at work where it was really quiet. Fortunately, we were busy. Not with customers, with product. Okay. So it is May 16th. Our title is Prayer. Our author is Sallye Taylor, and it's spelled Sallye, Taylor. And the reason I tell you this is because this you can find on YouTube. It is transcribed from her recorded introduction to Soul Food Unity, a website prayer ministry, and it was posted on YouTube in 2015. So you can probably look this one up if you want to see the author, which is why I wanted to spell her name for you. Okay, so May 16th, prayer. We pray to change our mind, not to change God's mind. For us, praying is not supplication to a God who is withholding our good from us. Prayer, instead, is an affirmation of that truth about us that eternally exists in God's mind, but has not yet come into our minds and therefore into our lives. Prayer, then, is most highly accelerated mind action known. It steps up our mental activity to synchronize with the truth that is in God mind. It creates through us a channel through which that truth, existing in God mind of life, health, wholeness, harmony, can demonstrate first in our mind, then in full manifestation. For us, prayer is not something that we do to God, but something we do to ourselves. It is not a position, but more a disposition. It is not doubting, but knowing. It is not just words, but feelings. It is not our will, but our willingness. In the Gospel of John, talking to the woman at the well, Jesus said, God is spirit, and they that worship it must worship it in spirit and in truth. They that worship God must worship God in spirit and in truth. So that first line, we pray to change our mind, not to change God's mind. Really, honestly, that is kind of the key to science of mind. It's the kind of the key to new thought. It's like we're not praying to change God's mind. We don't have to go to God and say, this is how I want it to be. What we want already exists in the God mind. What we have to do is come into alignment with that. And she says it in there, where we become the divine channel. So what we are doing is we are realigning or aligning with what it is that we want. God already knows what we need, and God is more than willing to give us what we want or need, or whatever word you want to use there. But God can only do for us what God can do through us, and we have to be willing. I honestly, when I came to that realization, why do we have to ask for things? If God already knows what we need, why doesn't God just give it to us? Because God can't give us what we're not willing to accept. So when we ask for things, then we are signaling our willingness to accept that thing that we say that we want. You listen to a lot of these writers, in this book, in the previous book, what it is that frequently we say that we want this, but we have in the back of our mind that doubt. And it's the doubt that gets in our way. That's why I like to use the metaphor of the hose. It's like, okay, so the water is flowing, but we're standing on the hose. So only a little bit of the water's coming out. So there's just enough good to keep us, working on it. But what we got to do is come into alignment with that good that we say that we want, and take our foot off the hose. I mean, it's a very country metaphor, but it's effective. And so what Sallye Taylor is explaining, it's like, look, That's why we don't beg. That's why we don't plead. That's why we don't, beg and plead. We don't come in on our knees to God about what we want. We know what we want. God already knows. God is already ready to give us whatever it is that we say that we want. What God is waiting for is us to be willing to accept it. And so when we pray, we are changing ourselves. We are coming into alignment with that which we say we want. We are doing the work. It's never
Surprise.
It's never God's job to do the work to bring us into alignment. What Sallye said is we are channels. God can do through us. What God can do for us, God is going to do through us. So we've got to be awake and aware and observant and paying attention to all of the little things that God is going to, or sometimes it's big. We like to talk about the spiritual 2x4. It's like, okay, this is what I want. And if I'm stumbling around not paying attention, then I'm not going to see the signs. And then occasionally God will hit us with a 2x4. It's like, hey, you keep saying you want this. Are you ready to accept it now? That doesn't happen as much, unless we've really been doing the work. And then it's like, okay, you keep saying you want this. It's about time you pay attention and accept it. So, and that really is the secret to the prayer. That's why we do affirmative prayer. We know it already exists. That I like the fact that she keeps calling it the God mind. She didn't even call it the God mind. She just says God mind. She didn't even use the article. I love it. Okay, so for us, prayer is not something we do to God, but something we do to ourselves. It is not a position, but more a disposition. It is not a doubting, but a knowing. It is not just words, but feeling. And that right there is one of the things that Reverend Jesse will tell you is the key to science of mind. It's a thought wrapped in a feeling. Where your attention goes is where your power goes. Where your feelings are, that's where your power is. So sometimes it's a good idea when we are going to sit down into prayer to check our feelings, to check our attention. And sometimes there are things that we need to take care of before we can do the prayer. All right. So, she's very short and to the point. I love it. I love it. Where was that? Prayer then is the most highly accelerated mind action known. It steps up our mental activity to synchronize with the truth that is in God mind. And it creates through us a channel through which the truth existing in the God mind of life, health, harmony can demonstrate first in our minds and then in full manifestation. So, the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to recognize that prayer is an affirmation of the truth that already exists in the God mind and accept it. Pray in truth knowing, and then be willing to accept what you are praying for. Okay? Prayer does not change God. Prayer changes us. Prayer brings us into alignment with that which we say we are asking for. So you know what they say, be careful what you ask for. All right. So that's the mission. Okay? Pray in affirmation knowing it already exists in the God mind. You are setting yourself up. You are aligning your mind with the truth that already exists and creating that channel through you for it to manifest. Okay. The other one is the same one I give you every day, which is the spiritual practice of doing something loving for yourself, doing something kind for yourself, doing something compassionate for yourself, whatever that looks like. The suggestions that I always give you: take a deep breath before you speak, take a nap, take a walk. It is about self-care. Absolutely about self-care. If you are going to live a life of service, then you cannot pour from an empty cup. You must take care of yourself first, okay? So practice love, kindness, and compassion on yourself. Now, I also want to remind you, because one of the other suggestions that I would frequently give you is to eat dessert first. I do literally mean that. Occasionally I do eat dessert first. But it's also a reminder that that is a metaphor for don't save the good stuff. Your life is a special occasion. One of the qualities of God is joy, and you deserve joy. So make room in your life for joy. Occasionally that looks like eating dessert first. It also means wear the nice clothes, buy the good shoes, eat the good food, use the fine china. Sometimes we want to save for a special occasion, and I'm like, your life is a special occasion. Treat it as such, okay? So practice love, kindness, and compassion on yourself. You deserve your own love. You deserve your own kindness. You deserve your own compassion. I'm encouraging you to create a habit, a first response, so that no matter what happens, you have plugged into the infinite source of love, kindness, and compassion on a regular enough basis that you can go there blindfold. All right? I want you to create that well-worn path to the source of your own being, which is the source of infinite love, infinite kindness, infinite compassion. No matter what happens, you can respond lovingly, kindly, and compassionately. All right? That's how we make a world that works better for everybody. And when you respond lovingly, kindly, and compassionately, sometimes what you do is diffuse the situation. Sometimes what happens is when they respond badly, you can look at them and go, I love you. You are a beloved child of God, but I'm going to do this from a safe distance and remove yourself from the situation. All right. I always want to remind you when people are behaving badly, yes, you do get to still love them, but you are allowed to do it from a safe distance. All right. Don't put yourself in harm's way. That is not loving, kind, compassionate for yourself or anybody else. Okay. Take care of yourself. Okay. I don't know where that PSA needed to come from, but here it is. Okay. I've said that a lot. I'm going to move into the process of reminding you the rest of my suggestions about self-care. Do something to engage your mind and your body, whatever that looks like for you. Please drink plenty of water. As we move into the summer months, it's going to be very important to hydrate. Your brain works better when you are well hydrated, so please drink plenty of water. I do encourage you to get early in your day, bright light. I got sunshine today, so that's wonderful. But if you get up before the sun, artificial light helps too. What I'm talking about is a circadian rhythm. It is a natural hormone cycle. When you get that early on your day, and I'm talking 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes at most, of bright light on your face, it helps to reset your hormones. You'll have more energy during the day. You'll sleep better at night. So try it out. It's science. You can look it up. And then, as always, because I am a Science of Mind minister, I do want to remind you, I'm going to quote Ernest Holmes, and this is my favorite quote. Open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you, you do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around us all the time. I talk about going to the source of your own being. It's partly about recognizing that we all come from the same source. Sallye Taylor today called it God mind. Not the God mind. She called it God mind. I love that she didn't use the article. And it's interesting to me how much trouble I'm having not using the article. We all come from the same source. That means that heaven is a state of mind. It is a state of consciousness. It is something that we can learn. Absolutely. I occasionally talk about the Christ consciousness, and I talk about it like it's software. It's like factory installed software. Okay? We come pre-installed with the Christ consciousness, and the password is love. When we activate that Christ consciousness, when we look around us and we recognize it's all God, when we look into each other's eyes, when we look into our own eyes, we see God looking back at us, we go, okay, heaven is not a place that I have to get to. It's a state of mind. It's a state of consciousness, which means it can be any place. If we want to talk about a world that works for everybody, that's how we do it. That's how we do it. The more of us that walk around in that heavenly state of mind, practice love, kindness, and compassion, we got this. We can do this. And love is the password. All right. And you can always take him as advice. Look for the good and praise it. Okay? I like to look for the little goods that add up to the big good. But you know what? Spiritual 2x4s are a good thing. So sometimes the big goods just come out of nowhere. And that's fantastic too. So please practice, practice, practice. Okay. I think I'm in the social media parts where I remind you that we are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark on the social medias that we are on. I am the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. If you want to know what's going on with the center, please email info@creativelife.org. That will get you on the constant contact. 1, you'll know what's going on with the center. And 2, the hot links are hot. If it says click here now, it'll either take you right to the information you want or to the person that can get it for you. All right. I guess I'm at the part where I remind you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonder-filled day, an amazing day, an awesome day, a sunshiny day, we could have storms in the afternoon, be careful day, a dance in the rain if you get some storms, enjoy it while it lasts day, a come into alignment day, a remember that you are a divine channel day, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. You are enough just as you are. You are a beloved child of God, a divine spark, a brilliant light, spirit in motion, God in action, or as Reverend Jesse likes to say, a godling, in whom God is well pleased and well represented, always. It's the truth of your being. Get to know the truth of your being. Get to know the image of you in the God mind. Okay? Because that image of you is perfect. And when I say perfect, I don't mean flawless. I mean whole. And that's the important thing. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. We get to make mistakes. Okay? And then we get to clean up our mistakes and own up to them and do better next time. But we get to have a whole experience. So know the truth of your being. Know who you are. All right. Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I should be back with you around 9 a.m. If you see me pop up at night, I'm doing a project where I'm reading this thing called You. I did not realize that there was not an Audible copy. So for people who struggle to read, it's such an important book that I want to make sure that everybody has access to it. So if you've got somebody who you know that would benefit from it but doesn't like to read, well, it's up on the YouTube channels. I've got 6 chapters up. I got to get 7 up, and then once I get 7 up, it'll go to 10, and then I just have like a few more to do. So that is available. I'm not the best reader. Occasionally I stumble over my words, but I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, and I wanted to make sure that it was out there. All right. So I guess I'm at the part where I tell you that you are loved, and I will see you next time.